BBR, Operation Cupid. We've decided to call it an Axis victory. The Germans have a secure hold on Europe. They've taken Leningrad, they've taken Stalingrad, they have the Caucasus and all of that oil. The Italians, in a dastardly move, came down and took South Africa. They are about to finish off the Horn, have all the Middle East. Moscow is surrounded. The Axis has all of the resource points at this point. They don't have Japan, but that's okay. And they don't have India, and they're just kind of trapped there. They've kept most of the money islands except for Sumatra. And the Allies, while still having a naval presence, really have no projection at this point. And on their last move, the best they could have done was to take the Caroline Islands. Is really all they could have done on the Pacific side. On the European side, I'm pretty sure they could have invaded at least one territory and destroyed the fortress Europa. They would have probably been able to take Norway pretty easily, only 6 infantry. So yeah, I think they had the forces to at least tear down the wall, and that was about it. Here I have my, this was my supply route. I would buy troops into northern Italy, ship them to Greece, use my transports to ferry back and forth to Egypt, as well as using my bomber to, like I said, keep troops pouring into Africa so I can eventually overwhelm the UK, which was the end result. I didn't get to finish up here, but I was going to rail troops up to Stalingrad to help hold that from a Russian counterattack. I don't know if I could have gotten my 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I couldn't have gotten my fighters up there, but I was going to take 2 infantry and also land them up there just to make sure the Russians couldn't deprive us of that victory point. So yeah, it looked pretty good. Some battles of note was in the beginning. We had a great attack up here and wiped out some of the UK Navy. Then we came in and attacked the English Channel and didn't destroy it. We got all but one unit and took some damage. They had a great roll, 4 hits against the Germans. I took a damage on my battleship and chose to retreat it, which allowed it to recover and stay in the war till the very end. Yeah, that's it. I just, the Allies had some great moves, but were never able to get enough troops together to make a landing and make it stick. They took West Germany. That was a good move, but they just didn't have enough follow-on troops to keep me off balance. They took Denmark. I took it back. Same thing. Just never quite enough troops to hold it or flood it with reinforcements. And something I don't know, I didn't really pay close enough attention. I don't know if there's an opportunity to use the Allied optional rule where they could have, let the Americans use the English transports and such. What I was afraid of was if they had something like that, if somehow the Americans could have used the Allied joint forces to maybe knock a hole in, Denmark, and then the British have enough forces on the follow-on attack to push into the Baltic Sea and make an attack. When I play Allies, I'm definitely gonna see if there's some way to leverage that to our advantage. The I don't know, the Commonwealth, it was very interesting. They took their transport over and got Brazil, and then eventually took all of South Africa. Plus, they were able to swing from Brazil to Gibraltar and help reinforce there. But this, I don't know, this whole effort was minimal. It didn't achieve a whole much there, but this did at least give them more income, and that's what they need, right? Because they have so little income that doing anything significant is a challenge. I would have liked to have seen them put some more troops out on the islands and hold them. That's really what I think helps them the most, is getting troops out there and getting that extra 3, 6 IPCs that will allow them to build more navy, build more troops, and then keep the cycle going. But yeah, somehow the Japanese got the jump on the islands and was able to hold them. We saw the UK on I think it was the first turn. They took their transport over. They took Iran. They took Iraq. They got this right away, which is great. That's such an economic boost for them because they get the bonuses. But it allowed, because they vacated Egypt, it allowed Italy to come in and take Egypt, and that was rough. That was rough with not having Egypt for the UK. They never got it back. We really thought we were going to have China, but they poured a few Russian troops in and pushed in with some Brits. We just at the very end couldn't finish it off, but at that point it really didn't matter. And the Americans were very disruptive going into Korea. They made their move, but unfortunately, like I said, they were just a little bit underpowered to hold anything. And a few different dice rolls, maybe an extra unit here or an airplane there, could have been all the difference. But as we see in this scenario, the Japanese were able to remove them from Korea and, for the most part, clear the sea. I mean, they had some ships left, but it was going to be gone. If this game kept going, they were going to be wiped out. But like I said, holding troops back, this is an 8-turn game. Holding anything back is pointless after turn 8. So it doesn't matter if you end the game with 8 carriers and 16 fighters if you haven't won. Russia, they held Moscow. Not sure Moscow was really our goal. And had some great firepower with their tanks and did a lot of good things. I mean, obviously, if Moscow were vulnerable, we would have taken it in 8. But yeah, had a great mix of defense and counterpunch that made it really hard for us to advance. And it wasn't until the very end that we got a pretty solid presence in Russia. There's not much to say on this too. It's just UK fleet in the Mediterranean got whittled down, couldn't survive, and never really pushed into the Mediterranean, and there wasn't really a good opportunity to do it. You could push ships into the Mediterranean, but then they were just going to get destroyed. And I kind of agree that unless you have a really good opportunity and they're weak in the Mediterranean, you could use those to control the channel and funnel troops into Europe, hopefully. And we all know that if this were a 10-turn game or more, it was going to get really sticky in Europe. They had enough navy to control the channel. They had troops flying in from United States, and then they would probably have been pouring into Holland, Belgium, and Normandy. But like I said, it's an 8-turn game, and that's the game you got to play. All right, I think that's good enough. I think that pretty much covers it. Like I said, it was a good game, and a lot of things went in the Axis's favor. Like I said, we had a very strong first turn for Germany, and Italy likewise was able to just kind of maintain their fleet and get a great jump start. And when Italy's getting 30 plus IPCs a turn, it's really hard for the Axis to come back from that, because when it's between a 10 IPC earning country or a 30, that's a huge difference. If they're isolated and not in here, they're 3 infantry a turn maybe, but when you get 30 and you're getting 10 infantry a turn pumped into the battle, that makes a big difference. So I know when I'm playing the Allies next, I'm gonna try to figure out a way to stop the Axis player from doing what I did. All right, I think I'm done.